We are following a developing story. Toronto police are investigating a double shooting in the West End. A bystander caught in the crossfire of a shootout near a Toronto school.
And we're learning more tonight about the deadly home invasion in Vaughan. This is where a father of 4 was fatally shot. That man's brother says the family's living a nightmare.
Plus, roar on the lakeshore, no more. The Honda Indy is moving from the X grounds to Markham. We'll have reaction tonight.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Welcome to Live at 5, and thanks so much for joining us. We begin this hour with a double shooting near a West End high school. Police say it began as a shootout between two groups, and a bystander was caught in the crossfire.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack. So right now, let's go to our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's near York Memorial Collegiate on Kill. Steve.
Yeah, guys, the scene is near the intersection of Keele and Donald Street. Police tell us, as Lena was just saying, that there was a shootout. There were at least 2 armed suspects, one on each side of Keele Street just before noon hour. And as a result of this shootout, 2 people were struck by bullets. Young man was 17 years old, was transported to a hospital where he's being treated for his injuries. And you see that white Jeep there? It's got 2 bullet holes in it, one on each side. Now, they're not through and through, which means that there were 2 different bullets that struck that vehicle. And the driver, a woman in her 30s, police say was caught in the crossfire. She was struck as well, and she's being treated for her injuries in hospital. So there are 2 people shot. A 17-year-old has been arrested. 1 firearm has been seized, and police are looking for at least 1 other suspect and at least 1 other firearm. So we spoke with a witness earlier on who said that when he arrived on scene shortly after the shooting, he saw a man on the ground, appeared to have been shot. He said that he saw what appeared to be blood near the white vehicle, and then he saw a heavy presence of police as they responded to this location. So police are actively processing the scene, as you can see. And earlier I did speak with a mom who was waiting anxiously and patiently for her daughter. She was in one of the schools that was in a hold and secure, and she was waiting to be reunited with her daughter. And we heard from the superintendent from the Toronto Police as well. Here's more from the 2 of them.
She heard something that sounded like a gunshot. Her and her friends went running into the school, into the office, and that's when they had heard that someone had been shot. She says she saw someone get shot, female. Again, we're talking teenagers, so I don't know how much is legitimate, but she's scared. It's day 2 of school.
At this point, no, the 17-year-old is not under arrest. The 17-year-old at this point is being treated as a victim. Someone else has been arrested. And like I said, a firearm has been located. There are 2 separate scenes at this point that indicate that there was some sort of shooting or discharge between 2 groups. Video evidence does suggest and confirm that at this point. And like I mentioned, that's unfortunately the vehicle that was being driven by the victim who happened to get caught in the crossfire.
So we're facing north. As soon as the officer closes the door of the forensic truck, you can see the evidence marker just off to the side of the police truck. That's a magazine that usually comes from a 9mm pistol. That witness who I told you about, what he said to us, he said that when he arrived, he also saw that magazine on the sidewalk, and clearly that will be seized by the police during the course of their investigation. Send it back to you.
All right. So disturbing. Steve Ryan reporting live tonight. Steve, thanks so much. And more details about another disturbing story tonight. A home invasion in Vaughan that left a father of 4 dead, his family reeling, and police are looking for at least 3 suspects.
CP24's Arda Zakarian joins us live with the latest. Arda.
46-year-old Abdul Alim Farouki is the victim, leaving behind 4 children and many distraught family members wondering how could this happen and why something like this happened. Now, police tell us that 3 male suspects entered through the rear of this home. Huron, Andrita, and Barons forced their way into the home and then shot the victim when they were confronted by him inside the home. Now, police say the suspects took phones from 3 family members and then left the area in a dark-colored SUV. 2 of those phones were later found discarded nearby, and the victim was left fighting for his life, but was pronounced dead shortly after.
The family was in the house at the time of the home invasion and shooting. The family was present, and I'm not going to be able to get into any further details on where they were located in the house or who was where, but the incident happened in front of the family, in front of the family members.
My brother died the way he lived. He was a hero. He was a family man. He loved his children immensely. He was so excited about having his son come back into baseball, and he made the team a AAA team in his community, and you know, his daughters, he had such high aspirations for them. He wanted them to attend Schulich School of Business, where I went. He really loved York University.
Police are also trying to determine if a nearby home invasion is connected. Footage shared by York Regional Police shows one of the 3 suspects breaking a window with a gun to enter a home near Major Mackenzie Drive and Highway 27. That's less than a kilometer away, and this happened 90 minutes after this deadly home invasion. And in this footage, people inside the home can be heard screaming before the suspects run away when security alarm is triggered. Anyone who recognizes the suspects in the video is asked to contact police. Now, police did not give any other further information about the interaction between Faruqi and the suspects, but they did say this is a very tragic situation, and they said that in the unlikely event that you find yourself in a situation like this one where there is a home invasion, to not interact with the suspects as much as possible and to call 911 instead. Police do confirm that a 911 call was placed from inside this home. Back to you.
Okay, CP24's Arda Zakarian. Arda, thank you. Ontario Cabinet Minister Stephen Lecce is paying tribute to Aleem Faruqi, calling him a friend.
Yeah, Lecce, who represents King Vaughan, sharing this photo online. It was taken 2 weeks ago when Faruqi and his son attended the minister's community barbecue. Lecce says Faruqi was a loving father, a family man, and generous community leader with a big heart, adding justice is owed to his family, who will forever carry this pain. And for more on this, we are joined live by Minister Stephen Lecce tonight. Minister, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us more about your relationship with Aleem Faruqi, if you can.
You know, Aleem will be remembered as a man who was heroic in life and in death. He really was a decent, kind, generous father, business guy, and a community leader. I mean, he's very involved in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. I've known him for years. And a very generous man. I mean, he gave much of his, gave a lot back. And so this could not have happened to a more decent human being. We all know good people, but Aleem really would be one of those guys that you'd say was loved by everyone who knew him. And I did see him just 2 Sundays ago. I actually messaged him and said, come out to my barbecue. And he brought out his son, another good kid, a quiet guy, but he came, and we actually had a really nice time together. So it's just unbelievable to think that an innocent man, a law-abiding man in the midst of night could have to face such brutality at the hands of criminals. And it's very sad. I mean, the community is deeply distressed. I mean, I will say there have been other examples. That weekend, there were other incidents of violence in our community. People are concerned, and they want action.
Minister Lecce, you know, also, please allow us to extend condolences sincerely. You know, given how this happened, confronting home invaders, I'd like for you to respond specifically to that, and then also calls for bail reform.
You know, I was able to offer my condolences to Aleem's brother, who was just clipped on the broadcast, his father and uncles and cousins and many members of his family on Monday night. And they pleaded that their son's death is not in vain, that there's action taken by the federal government that actually has the ability to end this revolving door of justice. The police chief of York Region today, again, called for bail reform to end the catch and release of criminals. Just 2 years ago, you may remember that young officer, OPP officer, who was killed by a repeat recidivist offender. And the Commissioner Carrick at the time, said that if this legislation, these meaningful, tougher sentences and bail reform had been in place, it could have saved a life. So I think we have too many examples of friends, families, neighbors being victimized in their homes. And the message the Premier has sent to the Prime Minister as he meets with his cabinet is to make this a priority and end the lawlessness and send a message of deterrence. I know it's a difficult time, but we shouldn't have to cite these examples of tragedy to get action out of government. And so I really hope the federal government will listen, will heed the advice of victims, and put law-abiding people and their interests ahead of criminals.
Yeah, I mean, we heard the Premier say that it is a disaster, according to him, in the justice system. And he did say that he was going to be all over the Mark Carney government. I know that those calls for bail reform are growing louder, Minister. You also posted on X about a petition that's going around calling on the federal government to immediately reinstate mandatory minimum sentences for violent crimes like this. Tell us more about that.
The message is, if you are so brazen and shameful to commit a violent crime like a home invasion or the cause of death with an illegal firearm, the law should be that you automatically get jail time. Serious penalty for a serious crime. The law was weakened by the government of Canada many years ago. And from commissioners and police chiefs and the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, and victims and families, everyone has come together demanding action. Mandatory minimums means that if you commit a serious crime, there's a mandatory automatic sentence of jail time. We need deterrence that sends signals and messages that if you commit crimes, there will be accountability. As you know, as we all know in this country, that is not the experience for criminals. They are caught by police who do their job and do it well against incredible odds, and they're released back on the street to repeat and offend. And it's just an unacceptable reality. People in Vaughan and King, I mean, we launched this petition. In 24 hours, we have over 5,000 signatures. I've never seen something like this before in my life. And I've been elected since 2018. People demand action. And so if we could be a conduit to the feds to call for action, we're going to do that. We're going to keep the pressure on, and we're going to be relentless in demanding reform, because I don't want another family to grieve irreparable loss. These are people, we will never get them back. And I made a pledge to the Father that we will use every lever, every resource, and every access point to the government of Canada to keep the pressure on to demand justice for his son and for every victim of crime in this country.
Okay, Minister Stephen Lecce, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, Minister. Turning to some other stories, we are following a 12-year-old boy has been charged with attempted murder in a shooting in Markham.
This happened the evening of August 14th on a residential street near McCowan and 14th Avenue. So police previously released footage of the shooting showing the suspect approach and shoot the victim while he sat in a vehicle in his driveway. So the chief of York Police mentioned the shooting during a news conference this morning, calling for bail reform and the Youth Criminal Justice Act.
And that 12-year-old was out on bail. What is wrong with this picture? So when I talk about youth crime, those are examples that we're referring to highlight the issue that, I believe this is a whole system approach. We need to look at youth justice reform. We need to look at bail. We need to focus our attention on public safety and make that the pinnacle of how we keep communities safe.
Now, the victim managed to get away and survive the shooting. The 12-year-old boy is facing 6 charges.
And police say that a fire that killed a young girl in Richmond Hill, this was intentionally set.
That fire broke out at a home on Skywood Drive in the Yonge Street and Gamble Road area on Labor Day. 5 people, whose sources tell CP24 were all members of the same family, were taken to hospital. Investigators confirming today that an 11-year-old has since died of her injuries, and they believe the fire was an act of arson.
4 unconscious victims were found in the residence, and a 5th victim was located outside. All 5 victims were transported to hospital in critical condition. On September 2nd, one of the victims, an 11-year-old, succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced. At this time, based on the evidence collected during the course of the investigation, the fire is believed to be an arson. The incident is now being investigated as a homicide, and 4 other victims remain in critical condition.
And police say that the Office of the Fire Marshal is also conducting a parallel investigation into the deadly blaze. It's still processing the scene.
You're watching Live at 5 on Toronto's breaking news. CP24 still to come.
Well, the Honda Indy, it's moving from Toronto to Markham. Mayor Olivia Chow says that she's going to get it back. We'll have more next.
Welcome back. The Ontario Honda dealers Indy will be rolling out of Toronto and into Markham next year.
Okay, for more on the decision to relocate the Roar on the lakeshore, let's turn to CP24's Andrew Brennan. So, Andrew, what's it going to be called now?
Yeah, I've been actually trying to figure that out. That's been the biggest part of trying to report this story. I'm not going to, well, maybe more so for my brain. Is this going to be the Roar on the Unionville GO station, or is it going to be the Roar on the 407? We don't really know. Is it going to be the Roar of Markham? None of those rhyme, and our producer knows that that's not good either. We both agree it has to rhyme. So we don't know what it's going to be called in that sense, but we do know that the Indy is moving to Markham next August. According to the mayor, Frank Scarpiti, this is something he's been trying to have happen, not necessarily an Indy per se, but a premier sporting event. Think about not the 416, but the 905. And come a little outside city limits. And there's a few reasons why apparently this happened. According to the Indy Dealers Association's president, there's a lot of construction around the lakeshore that's a bit of a problem. Even drivers were complaining about Turn 3, which is the one going right down onto lakeshore in front of the Ontario Place where all of the Therme Spa construction's happening. That has been a problem for the drivers. But then there's also the fact that the FIFA World Cup's going to be here next year. Ultimately, that meant that there couldn't be 2 tenants for one place at one time, and Toronto's loss is Markham's gain. Here's more from Mayor of Markham, Frank Scarpiti, and then also hearing about how Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto, feels about this.
Bud Danker this morning at Penske said, you know, we're here for the long term. And certainly we're going to work to make sure that the 5 years go well. And I know there's other opportunities for that to be extended.
The deal is signed with FIFA World Cup. We would not be able to, down by the waterfront, to have 2 gigantic festivals at the same time. Just logistically not possible. And we worked really hard to try to move the timing, you know, a few weeks before or after, but somehow the Indy did not want to do that, so we didn't have much choice.
Didn't fit with their schedule. So ultimately now the question is, will this be a pit stop along the way of returning to the Roar of the Lakeshore in 5 years, or is Markham getting a premier event for years and years to come? We'll have to find out. Back to you both.
Andrew, thanks so much for this. From Roar on the Lakeshore to gridlock on the Lakeshore, maybe all of the Gardiner. Let's get a check on that now with our traffic specialist, Adjoa and Siayabwa.
Well, Lena Bakari noted it's gridlock all over all the GTA area highways. So problems in the mix as well, making for a tough go. If your travels do take you onto the northbound 404, this route's been pretty quiet problem-wise. Not so quiet anymore. Problems on the northbound 404. This is just as you make your way north of the 407. Find the left lane blocked following a collision, and the 401. Problems continue on the eastbound 401 in the collectors at Bayview. Crews dealing with a collision that does have the left lane blocked. And then further east, the closure is still happening on the eastbound 401. This is at the 412 right at Lakeridge as well. Those ramps merge through here. So highways close through here. There's no incident in this area. It's further east. It happened at Brock Street. Still all lanes blocked. Still not getting an estimated time of reopening, even though most of the vehicles have cleared. And we have problems on the southbound 400 at the start of the ramps that take you to the east and westbound 401. Stalled dump truck does have that left lane occupied. I'll send it back to you both.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
It's 5:21, 27 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Up next, Prime Minister Mark Carney and his cabinet. They're meeting in Toronto today and tomorrow ahead of the fall sitting of Parliament. We'll tell you what was discussed.
Well, at least 15 people are dead after a streetcar derailment in Portugal's capital.
The derailment involved Lisbon's historic Gloria railway car. Footage from the site shows the yellow streetcar, which carries people up and down a steep hillside in the Portuguese capital, destroyed, and emergency workers pulling people out of the wreckage. Authorities say 4 nationals are among those killed and another 18 people have been injured.
Okay, back here, Prime Minister Mark Carney and his cabinet, they're meeting in Toronto today. This is ahead of tomorrow's fall sitting of Parliament.
Yeah, it's being called a cabinet planning forum. The Prime Minister's office says the 2 days of meetings will focus on fast-tracking major project approvals, building affordable housing, and, of course, tariffs. Carney spoke to reporters at the retreat today, defending his government's handling of the trade war with the U.S., and he says he spoke with President Donald Trump earlier this week.
Right now, we have the best trade deal of any country in the world. Okay, those are results. We think it can be better, and we're working to make it better. But to be absolutely clear, 85% of our trade with the United States is tariff-free. Nobody else is in that position. Our average tariff is about 5.5%. That's the lowest average tariff of any country in the world.
Okay, U.S. President Donald Trump plans to go to his country's Supreme Court, possibly as early as today, to ask it to help save his tariff policy against Canada and other countries. A U.S. federal appeals court found last Friday that Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs and his fentanyl-related duties, they're illegal and exceed his powers under the national security statute that he used to impose them. Even if the Supreme Court upholds a ruling against those tariffs, Canadian industries are still being hammered by separate U.S. levies on steel, aluminum, copper, and automobiles.
It's now 5:25, 27 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, Felix Auger-Aliassime makes it to the semifinals at the U.S. Opens.
Welcome back. Felix Auger-Aliassime is through to the semifinals at the U.S. Open.
The 25-year-old from Montreal defeated 8th seed Alex de Minaur in a marathon 4-set battle today. The match lasted more than 4 hours. Auger-Aliassime is returning to the Final Four of a Grand Slam tournament for the first time since the 2021 U.S. Open, so he's going to play his semifinal match Friday.
Staying with sports, the Blue Jays are getting ready for a rubber match in Cincinnati tonight.
The 5 American League hitters. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Towering fly ball to left center, and can you believe...
And Toronto was looking to tie things up last night, and what turned out to be a slugfest. George Springer's second home run of the game gave the Jays a 4-run lead in the 4th inning. Now, the Reds kept battling, but the Jays won the game 12-9. And with the win, Toronto hangs on to a 2.5-game lead. This is in the AL East, so both the Yankees and Red Sox, they won yesterday, moving them into a second-place tie. Tonight's game gets underway at 6:40. Shane Bieber gets the start for the Jays.
5:29 now, 27 degrees, and you're watching Live at 5.
And police say that an 11-year-old girl has died after a house fire in Richmond Hill on Labor Day that they believe was intentionally set. We're going to have a live update coming up in minutes. We're following a developing story. Toronto police are investigating a double shooting in the West End. A bystander was caught in the crossfire of a shootout near a Toronto school.
And we are learning more tonight about that deadly home invasion in Vaughan, where a father of 4 was fatally shot. That man's brother says the family is living a nightmare.
Plus, the roar on the lakeshore, no more. The Honda Indy's moving from the X grounds to Markham.
You're watching Live at 5. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lena Latifat.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. What began as a possible arson investigation is now a homicide.
Yeah, an 11-year-old girl has died in hospital after a house fire in Richmond Hill. CTV Toronto's Raheem Ladani has been following the latest, and he joins us with more tonight. Raheem, what more can you tell us?
Hi, Lena and Bakari. This is an absolutely tragic development with York Regional Police telling us that an 11-year-old girl has lost her life. She succumbed to her injuries yesterday. These injuries are ones that she sustained as a result of this house fire, which took place early Monday morning just before 3 a.m. Now, at the same time, police tell us that 4 other of her family members are still in hospital in critical condition, fighting for their life. We can tell you that CTV News has confirmed that 70-year-old Mohammed Bahari, I'm going to get the name absolutely correct, so I apologize for this delay, but that Mohammed Bahari Kashari, a retired surgeon, and his 59-year-old wife, Hale, were in the home when the fire first started, along with their 2 adult daughters and their 11-year-old grandchild. Neighbors in the area tell us that the 11-year-old granddaughter and her mother recently moved into the home, and that they say police were called to this home earlier this summer for some type of incident. Police have not confirmed that. They also don't have a motive at this time or any suspects in custody. Take a listen to what the York Regional Police Inspector had to tell us earlier today.
This event happened on Monday. It's very early on. It's a very active investigation. At this point in time, we do not have a suspect description. We are working through video, a lot of video. It takes a lot of time, and we're moving through the evidence, witness canvassing, video canvassing. At this moment, we don't have a description of a suspect.
Now, part of that canvassing is going to involve a secondary scene just down the road from here. Investigators did find a red gas can, and I asked the inspector to say, can you connect the gas can to this scene? They did not confirm that, but he did say that it is suspicious, noting the proximity, and that it's going to be part of their investigation. Fire investigators have been here all day today. This is the 3rd day in a row that they've been here as they try to work and determine the origin of the cause of this fire. Police are treating this now as a homicide investigation, and they do say that they believe this was a targeted arson. However, at this time, as we heard right there, no suspects right now in the tragic development that an 11-year-old girl has lost her life while 4 other of her family members are still fighting for their lives in hospital. Bakari and Lena.
Okay, CTV's Raheem Ladani. Raheem, thank you. More details about a home invasion in Vaughan. This left a father of 4 dead. His family's reeling, and police are looking for at least 3 suspects.
Let's go live now to CP24's Arda Zakarian, who joins us with the latest on this investigation. And that family is devastated, Arda. We heard from the victim's brother today.
The unimaginable happened to this family at 1 a.m. on August the 31st, taking away the head of their family, the father, 46-year-old Abdul Alim Faruqi. Now, police say that this was, in fact, a targeted event. It was a targeted robbery, though, and they are looking into the possible motives behind this, but they do say that they think that the motive was monetary gain. Now, police said yesterday that, or rather today, that at least 3 people entered this home from the rear, and they made their way into the home. That's when they were confronted by Abdul Alim Faruqi, and that's when he was shot dead. Now, police say the suspects then took the phones that belonged to 3 different family members. They fled the scene in a dark-colored SUV. 2 phones were later found discarded nearby. Faruqi's brother says a firearm was pointed at his children, and he is being remembered by his family and the chief as a hero.
He's a very honest, God-fearing man who absolutely loved his community, did anything for anyone who ever asked him or knew him in terms of helping. Like, whenever I needed something, he would always come to my house and help me, always willing to do anything for anyone. You know, it's a very tragic loss. I'm really thankful to the mayor, to the premier, to Minister Lecce that they've reached out, that they actually care about Canadians. I'm lost for words for who controls this, who is in charge, and what's being done.
A devout Muslim Canadian, Mr. Abdul Alim Faruqi, who was loved by his family and a respected leader in his community. Our thoughts are with his family and the entire community as they mourn the loss of their friend and leader.
Police are also trying to determine if this robbery is connected to any other ones in the area. They say that they released footage of robbery that shows 3 suspects breaking a window with a gun to enter a home near Major Mackenzie Drive and Highway 27. This is about a kilometer away from this incident, and it happened 90 minutes after this deadly encounter with Faruqi. In the footage, people can be seen inside the home screaming before the suspects run away, and when the security alarm is triggered. Now, anyone who recognizes the suspects is being asked to come forward. In the meantime, police did not provide any specific or further details about that exact interaction between the suspects and Abdul Aleem Faruqi, but they did say this. They said, in the unlikely event that you find yourself in such a situation, that you should not confront the people, the assailants, the suspects. Instead, you should comply with them. They're not asking you to be powerless in this situation, but they are asking you to call 911 instead. But police do confirm that a 911 call was placed from inside this home when this event happened. Back to you.
Okay, Arda Zakarian reporting live from that scene. Just a horrific story. Arda, thanks so much for your reporting and staying with this story. In the last half hour, we spoke to Ontario Cabinet Minister Stephen Lecce, who's calling the victim of this home invasion a friend. He tells CP24 the Ford government will continue to push Ottawa for bail reform and tougher criminal sentences. Take a listen.
It's just an unacceptable reality. People in Vaughan and King, I mean, we launched this petition. In 24 hours, we have over 5,000 signatures. I've never seen something like this before in my life. And I've been elected since 2018. People demand action. And so if we could be a conduit to the feds to call for action, we're going to do that. We're going to keep the pressure on, and we're going to be relentless in demanding reform, because I don't want another family to grieve irreparable loss. These are people, we will never get them back.
Well, 4 arrests have been made, multiple charges laid after home invasion, shooting and kidnapping happened in Markham earlier this week.
York police responded to the McCowan Road and 14th Avenue area on Monday morning for reports of suspects breaking into a home. A 54-year-old man in that house was shot, but police arrived in time to make 4 arrests. Police also say an hour earlier, another family member had been kidnapped from a vehicle in the McCowan Road and 407 area. The 29-year-old woman was eventually found in Toronto with minor injuries.
And 21-year-old Shakir Bhatti of Ajax and 20-year-old Pakaran Panglia of Brampton, along with a 16-year-old from Caledon and a 17-year-old from Toronto, they're facing 7 charges each, including attempted murder and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. So York police say they believe multiple suspects remain outstanding. So they are, and their associates, they're both looking for the kidnapping and home invasion suspects.
Now to a double shooting near a West End high school. Police say it began as a shootout between 2 groups, and a bystander was caught in the crossfire.
Okay, there's a lot of that to go over, so let's go to our CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve?
Yeah, Bakari and Lena, police tell us that this shootout, exchange of gunfire between at least 2 suspects with guns, happened at approximately noon hour today. Keele Street and Donald Street are the intersections. Police say that during the course of this shootout amongst these 2 groups, a 17-year-old young man was struck by a bullet, and he was transported to hospital where he is being treated for his injuries. And we're going to show you a white Jeep that it's still part of this crime scene. It is clearly facing southbound on Keele Street, just north of Donald. Police tell us that a woman in her 30s was driving that vehicle, and she was caught between the crossfire. The 2 groups were shooting back and forth. Keele Street, she suffered at least 1 bullet wound as a result. Now, there are bullet holes on that Jeep on both sides. And guys, it's not through and through, meaning that it's not 1 bullet that went through that car on one side and exited on the other side. These 2 bullet holes that we could see, you're looking at the one right now, which is just above the front driver's wheel. there's another one on the other side at a different angle. So it looks as though at least 2 bullets struck her vehicle, and she too has been taken to hospital where she's being treated for her injuries. Now, police have arrested one 17-year-old. They have seized 1 gun, and they are looking for at least 1 other suspect and at least 1 other firearm. Now, we did hear from Toronto Police earlier on today, and I spoke with a man who happened to come up on scene in his work truck just after the shooting occurred. He saw a man on the pavement being treated with CPR. He saw what he believed to be blood in front of the Jeep, and he saw on the east side of the sidewalk on Keele Street what he believed to be a magazine that was emptied after a pistol was fired. Here's more from those 2 people. Let's listen.
We're combing over all the evidence and video evidence that we do have and speaking to witnesses. I can tell you that there is a scene on the school property. At this point, whether or not any of the involved persons are affiliated with this school is still a matter of the investigation.
How many people are in these 2 groups?
Approximately 3 to 4 is the information I have at this point. 3 to 4 on each opposing side.
And they were on opposite sides of the street entirely?
That's correct.
They were giving the guys CPR on the right building there. There was
Where? Which building?
Yeah, that building right there. Like one guy was lying on the ground in this building.
So you're talking to the building that's just north of that white car there? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And then what?
And then I saw that. I assumed that it's something like shooting or something. And then I stepped out of the truck, and right beside that sidewalk, I saw mag. Then I was pretty sure that it's a shooting. And then I saw that Jeep is beside there. It's a pool of blood.
That mag that witness is referring to is just north of where that uniform officer is standing, that yellow evidence marker. Beside it is a magazine. That's what the man was referring to. And I could see 65 evidence markers. So that's at least 65 pieces of evidence that need to be seized and analyzed by the forensic officers. It's an awful occurrence. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. Thanks, Steve. It's 5:43, 27 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Up next, police are warning about a surge in distraction thefts in the city. We'll tell you what the message is. Welcome back. York Police Chief Jim McSween repeated his call for bail reform at a news conference today. This is when he was talking about the rise in violent crime in that region.
I've been down at Queen's Park. I've provided comments on bail reform. So have many of my colleagues across the GTA. And here we are again talking about it. And it seems like in some cases, right, we have not moved the needle collectively, because this is not just a police issue. Unfortunately, when it becomes our issue, it's too late. So we need to do something about this issue around bail and about keeping those people off the streets that shouldn't be on.
A 12-year-old boy has been charged with attempted murder and firearms. This is after a man was shot in Markham last month. This happened August 14th near McCowan Road and 14th Avenue. Police say that the victim was shot in his driveway and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. So the accused was out on bail for unrelated offenses at the time of the shooting.
Well, police are warning about a surge in distraction thefts in the city.
374 incidents have been reported this year. That's compared to just 28 during the same period last year. Distraction theft occurs when a suspect diverts a victim's attention in order to steal valuables like wallets, purses, phones, or jewelry. And police say to address the rise, officers in 42 and 23 divisions, they're increasing patrols in commercial and residential areas frequented by seniors. So the public's also being urged, be aware of your surroundings, keep bags closed, and be aware of overly engaging strangers.
Some common distraction tactics that are reported include the suspects asking for directions, pretending to need help, starting an argument or causing a scene, spilling something on the victim, offering to sell or gift jewelry, or asking the victim to pray with them.
And police are also asking businesses to be vigilant and report any suspicious activity.
It's 5:48, 27 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the Honda Indy is moving from Toronto to Markham, and Mayor Olivia Chow is vowing to get it back. We'll have more on that next.
Mayor Olivia Chow helped break ground on a new rental housing development in Mount Dennis today.
The Dennis will have 448 rental homes, and nearly 90 of them will be affordable housing. The city says this is one of the first projects supported through the purpose-built rental housing incentive stream to break ground. The mayor says the developers are saving nearly $30 billion in development charges.
Right now, at this moment, is all the project that has already been approved. Zoning, building, permits, all of it has been approved. They're in the pipeline, but they're stuck because financially it's difficult. Now, Fangate through LIUNA, who is the pension funds of all the workers here, stepped up and said, we will do the construction. It is a shot in the arm and say that we have confidence. We want to build.
And the city's calling on the province to invest nearly $600 million in the city's incentive program, which it says would unlock almost 16,000 new rental homes that are ready to start construction in the next 2 years.
Well, the Ontario Honda dealers Indy will be rolling out of Toronto and into Markham next year.
And for more on the decision to relocate the Roar on the Lakeshore, let's bring in CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew.
Well, Lena, Bakari, we still don't know what they're going to call it, proverbially speaking. Will the roar of the Lakeshore become the roar of the Unionville GO station? Or looking here on the map, the roar of the York University Markham campus and Markham Pan Am Centre? Probably not. But this is going to be a big change. This is a tradition going back to 1986, the first time that we saw some semblance of IndyCar riding here. And what we have heard...
Our deal is for 5 years.
We're going to talk about Frank Scarpiti's comments in a second. We'll be one more second there. This is a very quick saying that as this is happening, this is a big change, something that not necessarily could have been foreseen by the city, although the mayor did say that she ultimately hopes that the Indy will come back once all the construction around the Therme Spa is complete. One of the big challenges and one of the things that even drivers were complaining about for the state of the roads. And then on top of that, we don't have to deal with the FIFA World Cup coming back after next year. The problem is this is a 5-year deal that was announced right there. Here's more from the mayor of Markham, Frank Scarpiti, and also Mayor Olivia Chow.
Bud Denker from Penske Corporation did comment. He said, yeah, our deal is for 5 years. We love it here. We love what this community has to offer. And he indicated it could go well beyond the 5 years, but decades. It really is a great location.
Look at the numbers. How many people would actually show up, Markham? Look at just the 65 festivals that we have every year. The number of tourists. Tourists come to Toronto. They love the waterfront. They love the lakeshore. They love the tracks. And there's a lot of very, very loyal fans that comes to the Indy every year. And next year, come enjoy the World Cup and also then to the Indies a bit further north.
Seems that the mayor was holding off some thoughts she had about Markham, comparing the city to Toronto. All that being said, though, you hear excitement from the mayor of Markham and a bit of disappointment from Toronto's mayor as the Indy ultimately moves, starting next year for at least 5 years in Markham. Back to you both.
It's going to be so weird not having the Honda Indy on the lakeshore. I mean, it's been 40 years of doing that. Andrew Brennan reporting live from our newsroom. Thanks, Andrew. It's now 5:55, 27 degrees, and you're watching Live at 5.
And coming up, back to school in Halton, kids in the region got an extra day of summer vacation. We're going to check in on their first day next.
Welcome back. The Toronto International Film Festival kicks off tomorrow. It's an exciting time.
Almost 300 titles are going to be screened at the 50th anniversary edition of TIFF. King West will also be transformed into Festival Street. This is from Peter to University Ave for 4 days. And CP24 Breakfast will also be live downtown tomorrow and Friday to give you a behind-the-scenes look at the festival and where you might be able to spot some movie stars.
Well, kids in Halton region got an extra day of summer vacation, returning to the classroom today.
And while most kids went back to school yesterday, the Halton board scheduled a PA day yesterday, pushing the first day back to today. So we had a chance to talk to some families at Harvest Oak Public School in Oakville today.
Well, they get to take a bus because there's still a lot of traffic from all the construction. But then they'll be walking soon, so that'll be very exciting.
Are you excited to go to a brand new school?
Yes.
What about it that you're just like so excited about?
New teacher and new friends.
A new building.
Yeah.
And yourself, yeah, you have a brand new school. Like you're gonna be the first person in your class to sit where you're sitting. How does that make you feel?
Happy.
Happy? How do you think the school looks?
Good.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of their friends are going to be coming to this new school too.
So many smiles. They look great.
It's 5:59, 27 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
And thanks so much for watching tonight. CTV News at 6 is coming up next.